Welcome to Travel Talk with Joy. Today we have a great guest. His name is Matt Scott, and Matt is a five-time Paralympian in the sport of wheelchair basketball, two-time gold medalist. He has been a professional basketball player in Europe for 15 years. He has represented Nike, Ralph Lauren, and Apple in ad campaigns, and most recently, he has been a Wheel the World traveler. So we are so honored to have you today, Matt. Thank you for being on the show.
The honor is mine. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm excited to have this conversation.
Excellent. Well, let's get right into it. And I just would like to know, like growing up in Detroit, tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up as a kid in Detroit, especially a kid with spina bifida.
Yeah, so growing up in Detroit is something that I'm extremely proud of. Any Detroiter can tell you that wherever we go, we wear that as a badge of honor. It's something that all Detroiters are extremely proud of, and it's a city that has overcome a lot of incredible things. We're definitely proud of our history. We're proud of what it is today, and we're proud of it what it was back then. I think that as a person with a disability, growing up with a disability, I think that um, I've had to overcome a few things myself.
Yeah, well, Detroit's known for resilience,
There you go.
and that definitely would have that same thread to a person with disability growing up. It's resilience is required if you're going to have success.
That's right,
Um,
and we wear that as a badge.
yes. So, what's something that you wish more people knew about Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we're gonna uncover on the content that we created with Wheel the World is just how beautiful it is. I think that people often have a stigma about what Detroit might be. It might be gritty and something like that, but it's truly beautiful. One of the most beautiful cities in the world, and that's something that we're gonna uncover in the content that we created. We really unlocked and showcased the beauty which is Detroit, and not just the gritty parts and the parts that you stereotypically hear about.
So let's talk about that partnership that we just did with the City of
Yeah,
Detroit and Wheel the World.
yeah.
So, what was it being like a part of that project? And had you ever done anything like that before?
So being a part of that particular project meant the world to me. Being able to highlight a place that I come from, really to showcase my roots and show where it all started. I think that um, it really made me happy to be a part of that project. And not only were we able to showcase the city that I'm from, we're able to get a little wheelchair basketball in there. I was shooting some hoops on some courts that I used to shoot on.
Mhm.
Got a chance to eat at restaurants I used to eat at, and also see people like my family. Got a chance to connect with my mom. So it was a really incredible experience because all of those things are important to me: my city, my sport, and my family. And I got a chance to blend all of those in one. It was really, really a great opportunity.
And showing someone that never been to Detroit with Kaylee Bays, showing her what that was like.
That's right. That's right. I think when you come from a place and you're proud of it, the best thing you can do is share it with your friends and share it with your people. And Kaylee was the best person to share that with. She was so excited. She was so enthusiastic about everywhere that we went, and just willing to just kind of take the experience in stride. Like she was very um, yeah, she just took it all in stride, and she was so much fun to explore with.
She seems just a person that exudes joyfulness wherever she goes, anyway, you know?
That's it. That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about the hotel where the project was located and then some about the activities that you guys did. So, first, talk about accessible hotel.
Yeah. So I would say that everything that we did was incredibly accommodating. We're up at the DoubleTree
Yeah.
downtown. Talk about accessibility. We were close to everything that you might want to be close to, right? So we're close to iconic restaurants and sites. We're in pushing distance of some of the most iconic places in Detroit, which was incredible. But also just the accommodations inside the venue were really great as well. I felt very very welcomed and accommodated the entire time I was there, and I had no issues the entire time.
That's great. So, why don't you hit on some of the activities that you guys did?
Yeah, so uh, we started some of the activities that we did. We started with museums.
Mhm.
A lot of people know about the rich history in Detroit, and a lot of people know about the the auto industry. So what's the best place to go is the Henry Ford Museum. So
Yes.
one of the first places that we started was the Henry Ford Museum. We saw some incredible innovation. And things that I mean, I've been to the Henry Ford Museum,
Hmm.
but revisiting now at this point in my life, I feel like I learned so much more. And you really learn that Detroit was the heart of a lot of those innovations that happened in the automobile industry. We moved on to the African American Museum. That was really, really cool as well. I went. I feel like I experienced every single emotion in that museum. You know, you
Wow.
start to Kaylee and I are going through, and we had the best person that to like take us around and give us our tour. She was so knowledgeable, and I think we laughed, I think we gasped, we just really experienced every emotion because that is really a thought-provoking museum, and it shows
Had you
you.
been there before?
I've never been there before. That was my first time
Wow.
visiting. They explained to us that we were getting ready to approach 100 years of Black history in this country, and that was really it's really eye opening. You know, that was really eye opening, and they took us on a journey throughout, and it was really great.
Wow. Okay. So, and then what type of places did you guys go to eat?
Ooh, that's always my favorite part. The
I
places
bet.
that we stop to eat. So, any Detroiter or anybody that's come through Detroit knows that Coney Island is one of our staples. It's a really like fast casual place. It's not like it's not some sit down Michelin star experience. It's just it's a Michigan tradition. So we went to a Lafayette Coney Island and also the
Hmm.
National Coney Island, which was right next door to each other. There's a little bit of a story between those two, but we got a chance to visit both. So shout out to them. They gave us the best service possible. I'll never forget the server. His name was Red, and he's a very well known comedian. And he gave us a treat. It was really really nice to be served by him. We also went to Buddy's Pizza, which not many people. Some people know like New York slices. Some people know Chicago style, but Detroit has a style as well, and it's that square pizza. And
Oh, it's
we
so
got
good.
it's very good. So you got a chance to go to one of the most iconic places, Buddy's Pizza. And then one of the last places we went was way up on like I want to say it was 72 floors up. It's called
Wow.
Highland. Yeah, and I've never seen Detroit from this vantage point, and I would recommend anybody that goes to Detroit, get on that elevator, take yourself up 72 floors, and see it from that vantage point. You will never see Detroit in that light. It's really amazing, and we got a chance to see that at sundown, so it was really
Oh,
beautiful.
wow. So is this like a place you'd say go for drinks or go for dinner, or tell us a little bit about that?
All the above. I mean, I think I think that it would be a great place to go for like an early dinner as the sun is going down. It was I feel like you can see the entire city. There's not a single place that you can't see from that high. You can see the stadiums, you can see the casinos, and just like the beautiful streets. I
Wow.
cannot. I haven't been to a place so beautiful in Detroit, and that's now easily my favorite restaurant there.
Top date spot, man. You got a new
That,
one.
that's right. That's right.
So, as far as you said that you went to some places where you used to play basketball, um, um, did you go indoor, outdoor? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the soul of the game, of the soul of basketball is always from the street. Street ball is where I've learned um where I've learned everything that I've learned. When I was a kid growing up with disability, I used to go around the street ball courts and just kind of observe before I went and participated. I got a chance to check out the game before I got a chance to be invited to actually play. So yeah, we visited some street ball courts in some of the older neighborhoods in Detroit, like in Corktown, in DeQuinder, and I got a chance to go shoot some hoops and kind of show the guys where it all came from. This it was really great to these courts were really like well taken care of.
Hmm.
You can tell that people are still out there playing, and they really treat those courts with respect. And it I felt like being there on that court that we were on really told a story to me about how far that I really came. I've traveled to courts, as far as Australia. I've played in Europe for many years, and obviously played on the world stage. And to go from courts like that in downtown Detroit to all parts of the world, it really shows you it's not about where you start; it's about where you finish. And
Oh, that's
hopefully you get
so true.
yeah,
That is
and
that's a deep moment right there.
it was a very deep moment and like very full circle. And I'm so happy I got a chance to make that circle and have that experience.
Yeah. So we'll talk about basketball more in a minute, but tell me a little bit also about, Detroit is known for music, and you guys went to a jazz club, right?
That's right. So I will say this. So Kaylee got a chance to go to the jazz club. I did not make that part of the trip.
Ah.
So her and we went and got some food, and we went and did the museums. And
Mhm.
on the last day when she did it, like explored by herself, she got a chance to go to the jazz club. So I wasn't there with her, but I was there in spirit because as you mentioned, Motown Detroit, we're big on our music. It's all kinds of music, jazz, hip hop, R&B. Like we have so many different legends that come from Detroit.
Oh, that's for sure. So, as far as people's attitudes, like in Detroit, like, when you're traveling around, you and Kaylee, two people in a wheelchair, sometimes I feel like, there's one person in a chair and people are like, ooh, there's a person in a wheelchair. When there's two people in a wheelchair traveling together, it's like, wow, two people in a wheelchair traveling together. Like, how are attitudes of people towards you guys? Just in general, how did you feel?
It's a great question. The How did I feel when we were in Detroit, just kind of cruising around and observing people's attitudes? It was quite possibly the nicest day I could imagine. Like it was beautiful. The sun was shining. Uh, I mean, I want to say it was like stereotypically like the birds were chirping. Like it was like it was like the quintessential day. So everybody had smiles on their faces. People greeted us. It was almost like I almost felt like a visitor as well because I haven't been back to Detroit for so long too. So I was just kind of observing and taking it all in. I think the way that people the way that people greeted us and were just very open, it just reminded me of why I miss Detroit. Um,
Ah.
that that Midwest, like, how are you doing, and asking questions about you and truly wanting to know the answer. Like,
Hmm.
it really made me miss the Midwest. I loved being there, and I think we were well received no matter where we went, whether it be a museum or a restaurant or even just on the streets. We encountered such kind people, and that really speaks to how Detroit really is.
Ah, that's really good to know about that. And I think also though, like both you and Kaylee seem like such positive people that I feel like when you put that positivity out, people respond with a smile and they want to engage and see what's going on.
I totally agree with that. You get what you give, and I agree. And being around Kaylee, it's impossible not to be smiling the whole time as well. She's such a positive person, and I feel like she brightened my experience while I was there. And I hope
Hmm.
that I was able to show her a city that she had never been before.
That's great. Well, I think that it's going to be just a great thing to share for everybody to see how welcoming Detroit is and how it really is a city that is rebuilding and just making so many new things. And it's a great place to go visit.
That's right. I definitely hope. My hope is that what we were able to create there in Detroit encourages wheelchair users and encourages anybody that sees the content to go check out Detroit and see the beauty that's there waiting for you. It's a very welcoming place. I'm a little bit biased because I see the beauty no matter what, but I think that with it growing and in so many different ways, like whether it be more restaurants and more music venues, like it's growing in so many different ways, and I'm just happy to see the growth.
That's great. Uh, so you have traveled so much in your life, and I want to go back to basketball. And as far as like, you know, Detroit's where it started, but then, you know, let's talk about like where it went from there and let's talk about a little more international travel. So, do you remember the first time you traveled internationally for basketball?
I do. I remember it very well.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So the first time I traveled internationally, it was back in 2002. I went to Brazil. I went to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I was representing Team USA for a very, it was like an under 23 uh, national team. So it was like a junior national team. That was a eye opening experience. I had never really traveled that far. I never, it was my first time getting a passport, and really, it really showed me that I did want to travel the world. It inspired me to go further and inspired me to see more of the world because I realized that it wasn't just my backyard and my surroundings. There was a whole world out there waiting for me.
And travel can teach you some things that, a basketball court or a classroom can't teach you. Like, what do you feel that travel has taught you?
Travel has taught me to connect with people beyond what I'm used to. Travel has taught me to be curious about things that don't necessarily pertain to me. And travel has taught me a different level of empathy and understanding for things that I'm not accustomed to. Like there's different customs out there. There's different foods to try. There's different languages and ways of even greeting each other and spending time. There's different music that you can dance to and different stories you can listen to. The world is just such a beautiful place, and travel has taught me that.
For sure. That's really great. I think that when you travel, it just opens your eyes to like how big the world really is, like gets you so much out of the boy that was in Detroit, you know?
That's right. That's
It's
right.
incredible. So, um, when you've traveled all over the world, you've lived in different places. What destination has stood out to you the most for accessibility
It's a
outside of the
great
US?
question. That's a very, very good question. I have been all over the place, and in 5 different games, for example, we've had games in Asia, we've had games in Europe, we've had games in South America. When that comes to accessibility, what stands out to me the most? I will say this. I will say the games that have, or yeah, I'm sorry, the destinations that have held games, that have held Paralympic games. I feel like they have a bigger inclination to pride themselves on accessibility, and they are
Hmm.
more motivated to create spaces where people can access. So having gone to Rio in 2002 and then revisiting Rio in 2016 for the Paralympic Games was a completely different place.
They had
Um,
improved in accessibility.
absolutely,
Oh, that's
absolutely, and
great.
And I know that that's a big span, from 2002 to 2016. So maybe that has everything to do with them growing as a city, and maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the games. But even the same with London. Going to London in 2010 and then revisiting London in 2012, completely different place. I think that the Paralympics has this ability to change the way people perceive disability. And when they perceive disability differently and they start to see disability as a part of their everyday, as a part of the society, I think things are a bit different. I think buildings are built with inclusive design. I think that things are start to be thought of with disability in mind and not as an afterthought. So I think that the Paralympics really has a huge role in doing that. And when saying that, we have LA 2028 right around the corner. What's that going to do to our society here in LA 2028?
No, I think that it changes perceptions of uh, like what is accessible. Also, I think Paralympics really change perceptions of what athleticism is for disability sport. And I've had the opportunity to go to some Paralympics as a spectator, and it is so cool to see these kids coming asking for autographs. And it's like they see you as the king of a sport, not just, oh, and there's a guy in a wheelchair rolling down the street.
That's right.
And I think that's so cool. And you know in my research, I saw that people call you the Steph Curry of wheelchair basketball. And that's a pretty amazing statement. But when you're competing on that level, people are now seeing you as this king of basketball. It doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair or not. And I love that these kids are getting to have their eyes opened to what sport is for people with disabilities, not disability sport. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with you. One of the major things that you said there too is like the kids get to see, because I think when you start young, when you show what sport is at a very young age, they don't have to relearn anything. They don't have to kind of like reintroduce themselves to like what it might be. They're always already moving forward with the idea that what an athlete is. This is an athlete and a Paralympian, and there's an Olympian on the same plane. I think that's so strong. It's such a powerful thing. And yeah, I just hope that we really take advantage of the opportunity that we have in front of us in LA 2028 to change the perception that we have here in the state.
Absolutely. I think that, we're considered to be the most accessible place in the world to be in the US, but yet attitudes may not be on the top of the game. Uh, why don't you talk a little bit about your experience as a European professional wheelchair basketball player? Because that's something that's not even available in America. What was that like? And why do you think that it's accepted in Europe as a professional sport, but not in America?
It's a really tremendous question. The topic of why wheelchair basketball isn't a possibility to be professional here in America is something that is really dear to my heart. It's something I'm super passionate about. And I
Mhm.
recently wrote a position, an op-ed about why that might be and my take on that. The piece that I wrote is called "The Land of Opportunity?" question mark. Was hoping that that
Mhm.
would get some eyes going. And I actually that you can find that on the website on flywithoutlimits.org. I have it living there. I have excerpts of it on social media as well. It really kind of delves deep into that because it's something that is a bit frustrating for me because I love the sport. I love to see it growing. And I'm really grateful for those opportunities that I had to go overseas, live a life that of different custom, of checking out different everything. I got a chance to see the world. That was I'll never be able to say enough thanks for that. But it was more of an ultimatum for me if I wanted to continue to prioritize basketball and play at a high level without having to fend for myself and work full time here. I there's a myriad of reasons why it's available over there. One is the way that we like the model in which we have wheelchair basketball. For us here in the States, it's more looked at as a rehabilitation tool and a recreational outlet. And until we have a version of that that separates, and it's all about high performance and elite athleticism, um, it will always be a recreational tool or rehabilitational outlet. Um, so that's it. The
Mm.
in Europe it's more, there is a recreational outlet, there is rehabilitation, but they also have something for high performance and elite athleticism. So until we separate that, I think it will always be the case.
It's interesting how some of those cities over there are so not accessible, but yet
Mhm.
they perceive wheelchair sports in a high regard.
That's right. You
Very interesting.
take a place like Rome, which likes to preserve all of its beauty. Every
Yeah.
street you go down is cobblestone, and you have a lot of like old ancient buildings, and even the basketball courts that we go to are quite old. But there's three different professional teams within that city, and that's
Wow.
actually really cool. Yeah.
What percentage of those guys are American?
Well, it depends on the league. Every league has different rules. So, in Italy, for example, you can only have one American on your team. You can only have one person outside of the
Oh,
EU as a transfer. So if you have someone from Australia, then you're not going to be able to have an American. If you have an American, you're not going to be able to have another one. Um, Whereas, like, if they're within the EU, you can have someone from Germany, Spain. You can
mhm.
have those, but it's their way of making sure that their league is it's intended to help their international team grow, their national team grow. So that they have those rules. Whereas, like in Spain, you can play for a team that's in Madrid,
Mhm.
and no one on the team has to be from Spain at all. Like you could have a team full of international guys. Germany is the same way. When I played in Germany, there was 6 different nations across our 12-man team, which was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, we
Well,
had guys from everywhere.
I hope that maybe with LA, maybe that will help give more exposure to, how amazing uh, men's wheelchair basketball is at that really elite level because it's incredible to watch. You're
Well,
draining threes. It's not like there's a different size of court. It's really really incredible to watch a high intensity basketball game.
I
Um,
agree.
let's talk a little bit about Fly Without Limits. Tell us what that is and how you started that and what your vision is for that.
Absolutely. So, Fly Without Limits is a disability empowerment organization that I launched roughly 2 years ago. When I came back to the States in 2021, I felt that there were a lot of organizations that are disability empowerment. There are a lot of organizations that do incredible things, but I felt like there was an opportunity to reach a certain demographic. I think sometimes as a kid, there's a lot of opportunities for you. If you want to be involved in adaptive sports or something, there's a lot of opportunities for kids with disabilities. But as you start to grow up and sort of age out of those opportunities, you're kind of left to fend for yourself a little bit. So I started kind of trying to reach that demographic. Then, I realized that there were also some opportunities for the youth, and getting to different skills and development camps, getting the right equipment, I remember as a kid, one of my, I guess, treasured things was having a chair that I felt confident in. That's what, for me, that's what having a disability is all about, is like feeling confident in my own skin. That's honestly all we like to do with Fly Without Limits is help people with disabilities feel confident, live their life to their fullest potential, whether it be through adaptive sports or other avenues. We just like to promote confidence and independence no matter what.
Are you doing this primarily in Detroit area or what area?
That's a great question. So I live in San Francisco, California.
Hmm.
That's where we launched the organization. But we're all over. We started our first, I guess, um, initiative was in New York. We were doing things here in California. We've actually taken two international trips to donate equipment and do wheelchair basketball clinics in Africa. Actually, we
Wow.
went to Senegal in December, and then we were really excited about that, and like followed that up with a trip to Rwanda, which was really incredible. So we're very much a global organization, in any way that we can have an impact on the disability community. We like to put our hands out there, whether it be through employment opportunity, whether it be through adaptive sports, whether it be through
Hmm.
accessibility and equipment. We have our hands in a lot of different things, but we our main focus is empowerment.
It's great. So I assume that you probably accept donations for this is a nonprofit, right?
We are a nonprofit, and one of the
Yeah.
things that I'm very proud of is that we haven't been a crowd-funded organization. One of the things
Hmm.
that we've been doing is we've partnered with organizations that want to raise up our mission. We partner with different corporations, so we've been able to find corporate funding and um, yeah, some outside dollars to help lift up the community, because we don't want to be a crowd funded organization. We obviously, if people want to donate to Fly Without Limits, we don't reject their donations. But we always try to find donation. We always try to find ways to use those donations to give directly back. So if someone was to buy, we have merch on flywithoutlimits.org. When people buy merch, we make sure that that money goes directly back to the community somehow. And we're always looking for ways to make an impact.
I'm sure your story is such an impact when you were in Senegal or when you're in San Francisco or Detroit. Like you have such a big story of your life. Uh, I heard a quote that you said, and um, hold on one sec. This quote, I just thought, wow. You said this. What makes me undefeated is the fact that I absolutely, without question, dominate living with a disability. And you do. Like you crush it and it's the impact that you have by the life that you're choosing to live. Every day is not perfect, but it's like the life that you're choosing to live is empowering so many people just by your positive outlook and um the desire you have to change other people's confidence because it's all about, do you feel confident in who you are, whether you have a disability or not?
That's right. I love that quote, and I said that so long ago, and it still holds true. I believe it. I believe that 100%, and I'm so motivated by what you said. I'm so motivated by the community of people with disabilities that watch me, and they tell me, they encourage me, they they tell me that what I'm doing is encouraging them to live their lives fully. And that is the most motivating thing I could possibly imagine.
Oh, I watched your Nike commercial from way back in 2007. I watched that commercial and I was like, oh man, that commercial made me feel very lazy, very lazy, and I have to get off my butt and go do something. I mean, that commercial worked so well for what Nike was trying to do with telling people there's no excuses.
Mm, It feels like a lifetime ago, but yeah, that was a world changing. world changing commercial with Nike back then.
Yes, and I mean, I'm telling everyone here, go watch that commercial with Nike because you'll see it really did still motivate what almost 20 years later and made me go, wow, still relevant, very much
I
still
love that.
relevant.
I love that. Thank you
So
for that.
yes, so what would you say to people that want to travel the world and have this life adventure but are scared?
I think it's normal to be afraid of what you don't know. And I think that having a disability adds this additional layer of ambiguity and what might be out there waiting for you, especially when you might be at home and you see a little bit more, like you might, even without traveling, having a disability, even without traveling, you see a little bit of like there could be some chaos, even just traveling around in your own city. So it might feel very daunting to say, okay, I'm going to go across the world and do that. I would encourage you to do it. I would encourage anybody with a disability to go see the world, go see how disability is perceived, go see how not even just about disability and accessibility, just go see how they live, you go see how um the music they listen to and the food they eat. You might open yourself up to an entirely different world. If we keep ourselves closed in because we're afraid of the accessibility or afraid of what might not be, we cannot live a life of fulfillment. I think a life of fulfillment is one where we're out exploring and seeing what the world has to offer. So get out there, whether it's with people. I got a chance to do it with Kaylee and got a chance to go see Detroit, and got a chance to show her a city she never saw before with Wheel the World. Get yourself a travel buddy and make it less daunting for yourself. I promise you that you won't regret it, and it's something that you will always treasure because traveling opens your eyes to so many different things.
Yeah, I think, every life has a different story. And I think that's the part of travel is you get to see other people's stories. And your story, Matt, is a big one. And I really thank you for sharing your life and your story with us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I know you will have much luck in your future because you will just, your positivity brings it into your life. So thank you. And we will see you somewhere around the world.
Peace.